Well, from Try Thinking claims that there are no globe believers with any geometric evidence of the globe model, and this will be more evidence part 2. Now, my last video, I provided evidence that this was the path of the sun that I see from Bangkok, and of course at night that sun continues on the same path below me as it returns to the east to rise again in the morning. Now in my video, I mentioned this video from Sparkane, and I personally think that this was one of the best experiments conducted for this debate. Sly asked for measurements of the sun's shadow on the September 23, 2017 equinox, because this was going to be based on the Eratosthenes experiment, and he got 23 replies from around the world. Now, I'm not going to mirror his video, but I will leave a link in the description. It is well worth the look. And since it was back in 2017, unfortunately, it has been somewhat forgotten because this is more geometric evidence of the globe. And of course, it is geometric evidence destroying the flat Earth. And for those flat earthers who are triggered by the word flat earther or flat Earth, well, come up with a new name because I'm not going to say the Earth model previously known as the flat Earth. Now, I'm sure most everybody is familiar with the Eratosthenes experiment, and it was really a brilliant way to use this calculation over here to make an estimation of the circumference of the globe Earth. Now, there is a debate as to the actual length of a stadia, but that would put his estimations between this range right here, which is actually quite close to today's measurement of 24,902 miles. Now, flat earthers will say, well, this isn't proof of a globe. This would also work on a flat Earth. And this is true. And if Eratosthenes thought that the Earth was flat, since this forms a right triangle right here, he could have used either of these equations to calculate the altitude of the sun. And of course, this is exactly what flat earthers are saying when they claim that the sextant only works on a flat Earth. So here we have the sun. Here we have angles to 3 latitudes, and of course each one of them forms a right triangle where sun is at zenith. And most importantly, this shows that for the geometry of the flat Earth, the sun is at the same altitude for all latitudes. And since Sly had 23 measurements from 23 different latitudes, he has more than enough data to test this model. So what these 23 participants did was use a vertical object to measure the length of the sun's shadow at noon, and they sent the data to Sly. And with that information, Sly was able to calculate this angle of the triangle that was formed by the sun's shadow. And that was also the angle of the sun above the horizon from that location. I was one of the participants. This was about the time I first heard of the flat Earth, and this was before I started my channel, and I was going by the name of Coon Rich. Now, I had a vertical object that was 30.6 centimeters tall. It had a shadow length of 7.6 centimeters. That gave a calculated angle of 76.05 degrees, which Sly rounded to 76 degrees. And down here in the lower right, highlighted in yellow, you can see that this matches the angular altitude of the solar noon sun for that date from timeanddate.com. Now, if we look at the geometry of the flat Earth, the sun should be at the same altitude for all 23 latitudes. Now, even though my measurement happened to match the data provided by timeanddate.com, you would not expect all these measurements to be 100% accurate. But if they fell in a pattern, let's say within 3 or 4 degrees of each other, that would still be very strong evidence supporting the flat Earth. But here are the actual results for the flat Earth, not even close. And 3 of these lines even extend higher than the top of the chart. But when Sly matches up to the geometry of the globe, what we see is mostly parallel sun rays, because you can see there are a few exceptions that aren't quite parallel, which is another geometric win for the globe and another geometric fail for the flat Earth, or the Earth model previously known as the flat Earth.